Where No Point Has Gone Before by Arcade Striker JK5, Chapter 22. Countess log. Stardate 6014.29. After several days of negotiation, the equestrian government has managed to secure political and economic agreements not only with the Federation, but the Klingon Empire. Although diplomats will be sent in to put in the finishing touches on the treaties, for the most part, a new era has begun here, on this small planet. On a more personal note, I look back on the events that have occurred here, that have begun to shape the course of reason in this galaxy. I wonder how much might have been planned by Celestia or Discord, and if they had any help from others. One day, I might solve that mystery. Captain Kirk leaned back in his command chair. On the bridge's main screen, the planet Equus could be seen to port. To starboard, the Kanaz Pride could be seen, keeping pace as ahead of the Enterprise. Steady as he goes, Mr. Sulu. Sulu glanced around his control panel, adjusting several controls. Aye, Captain. All controls so clean. Kirk allowed himself a brief moment of rest, reflection, of pride in his ship and crew. Looked around the bridge, at the crew. His crew. A sense of satisfaction and pride well within him. Sulu sat at the helm station. Chekhov to his right navigation. Eric stood by Chekhov, dab pad in his central hand. Chekhov made some remarks about there being forests of the Tree of Harmony outside St. Petersburg. Sulu rolled his eyes and patted his young friend on the shoulder. Scotty sat in the engineering section, close to the turbulent alcove. Lieutenant Kyle stood next to him. Scotty looked up at Kyle and spoke. Kyle's eyes widened, and the two men laughed. Kyle slapping his legs. Silverdorf lifted the oars open. Bones and Maris stepped out, the former heading for Kirk, while the latter walked over to Uhura, sitting almost directly behind Kirk at the communications station. Maris handed Uhura a data-pad. The two women spoke, Uhura smiling slightly. Spock stood at his science station, bent over slightly. He peered into the station's sphere, just as the controls were below it. For a brief moment of eternity, everything was fine. Everyone was where they should be, where they were meant to be. And the moment, like all others, passed, as it should, as it was meant to pass. Bones stepped right behind Kirk's chair, grinning. Well, Jim, looks like we pulled another one out of the fire. Kirk glanced behind his shoulder. Indeed, Bones. Although I think we'll leave the fire details to any ambassadors coming this way. More of their purview, I believe. Laura raised her hand just at her earpiece. Captain, we're receiving a message from Caroline. It's Princess Celestia. Kirk nodded. Thank you, Commander. Open the channel. Celestia turned a knob. Princess, go ahead. Celestia's voice came over to Princess Aircom. Thank you, Captain. I wish you and your crew a safe journey. If you're ever in this sector, feel free to stop by for shore leave. I think Pinkie Pie wants to throw you a somewhat less formal party next time you're here. Kirk's head bowed slightly. We'll keep that in mind, Princess. Thank you. There was a silence before another voice came over. This one's Twilight's. Captain, I want to say thank you. You helped Equestria take our first step to the stars. You helped us broaden our horizons. I hope that the next time we meet, you'll be out there, among the stars. Kirk smiled. Don't keep us waiting too long, Princess. There's a lot to see out here. It could be dangerous and even a bit risky. Twilight giggled slightly. But is it risky business, Captain? Kirk grinned. Very good, Princess. Let's be up on Earth for what's about, say, 10 years. I'll write on my calendar. Twilight out! Bones patted Kirk on the shoulder. You might want to pencil that in, Jim. Considering what we've seen of her, Twilight probably has every intention of keeping that appointment. Kirk nodded to his old friend. I don't doubt it, Bones. Miller spoke up again. Captain, we are now receiving a signal from the Pride. Audio and visual this time. Kirk nodded. Thank you, Uhura. On screen. He stood up and walked forward a few steps as the main view screen changed. Kang stood in a bridge very similar to the Enterprise's. Mara stood behind him on his right, Kina on his left. Kelly could be seen at a duty station, while Tarquist manned the helm. Worf could be seen at another side of the outside station. Kang thumped his chest, then saw his right arm out with Kina salute. Comply to you, Kirk, son of George! Kirk returned the salute. Comply to you, Kang, Son of Kina. King lifted his head slightly.
We are returning to the Empire. Kor Koloth have responded to me. We shall begin the hunt for the albino.
He paused.
Kirk will be accompanying us.
Kirk nodded, half smiling. I'm glad you took my advice, King. King's head twisted a bit before it finally stopped and looked at Sulu.
Commander Sulu, we shall keep you apprised of our success.
Sulu nodded. Thank you, Captain. I wish you good hunting. If you do need help, I'll be there. King nodded to him.
Thank you, Commander. Callus willing, we will all deal with him quickly and decisively.
He looked up at Kirk once more.
We shall work somewhat quieter than you to change the Empire, Kirk. But by Callus, I and my crew shall do whatever we can.
Kirk nodded. If there is anything we can do to help Kang, ask. Friends shouldn't do it alone.
Kang snorted. I never thought I'd call an Uther a friend. Yet here we are. Thank you, Kirk. Until our next encounter.
With that, the main view screen changed once more to Equus from orbit. Kirk went back and sat once more in his chair. It's a start, he said, settling back. Laura spoke once more. Captain, we are now receiving a transmission for Starfleet Command. It's... A brow throws slightly as he adjusted the controls. Commodore Robert Wesley? Bose looked at her, then to Kirk.
Wait a second. Bob? Last I heard, he was still governor of Mantillas.
Kirk glanced at him. After the incident with the Cosmic Cloud, Bob decided to return to Starfleet. He figured he had more to offer there. He moused at the view screen, pulled through 3 to Uhura. The image changed to an older human male, gray hair and somewhat lined face. He nodded before speaking.
Jim, good to see you. Just about everyone here at Starfleet Command is buzzing about the great work you and your crew have done.
Kirk smiled. Thank you, Bob. Although I have a feeling this isn't just to sing our praises.
Bob nodded. Correct, Captain. You're getting new orders. We want you back at Earth as soon as possible. We have a new mission for you. The Indian Enterprise is getting its refit ahead of schedule. We're going to try and intercept Feature as soon as possible.
Kirk nodded forward. Makes sense, Bob. Will Epsilon 9 be evacuated?
It will be, although the station itself will remain and its sensors operate remotely, just in case we need to get scans of Feature.
A wide smile across Bob's face.
I'm afraid we won't get much from the movie itself. He held up a hand. And the Klingons have already told us they're going to keep any ships far away from the projected flight path. We should be able to nip this one in the bud.
Kirk laced his fingers together. And the mission beforehand? Or is it classified?
Bob smiled. Oh no. We'll be sending the Enterprise back to 1986. There's a pair of humpback whales named George and Gracie to pick up, along with a marine biologist named Gillian Taylor. I'm sure you can work your useful charms, Jim. He
turned his head slightly.
Of course, Mr. Scott will help a certain Dr. Marcus Nichols with the invention of transparent aluminum.
Sky turned his chair to the main view screen. It'll be a pleasure and an honor, sir, he said, grinning. Bob glanced at his right for a moment.
Well then, we'll see you at Starbase 1 within the week. Safe travels, Enterprise. Starfleet Command out.
Bob's nodded and patted Kirk on the shoulder.
Well, good to see you're not locking those episodes or movies up in some dusty old warehouse in the middle of nowhere.
Spock turned to his seat and walked over. It would be illogical not to utilize such a vast amount of information, Doctor. With proper planning, many crises can be averted, or at least minimized.
Buzz crossed his arms. If this would have you known Starfleet Command to be ruled by logic, Mr. Spock.
I rejoined with silence as Kirk held his hands up. Gentlemen, please. We have a pressing engagement a week from now, and about 283 years in the past. He looked to his left. Mr. Scott, engine status. Sky looked over several screens to the engineering station.
Everything's in the green, Captain. All ready. Just give the word.
Kirk straightened up in his chair. Then the word is given. The information Sunset and Trixie will give us is a guide to the future. But the future can only be met head-on. Mr. Sulu, Mr. Chekhov, take us out of orbit. Then set a course for Sector 001, Warp 6. Sulu's hand danced across the control panel as he twisted dials and flipped switches. Aye, Captain. Course set. Chekhov checked his own displays.
What did I read to you, Command Captain?
Kirk nodded. Engage. The Enterprise slipped out of orbit, gracefully spinning along in a tight arc. The front half of the ship suddenly stretched out impossibly long as the warp drive activated. It hung there for a moment before the rear snapped forward, sending the Enterprise hurling through space on its next way to the adventure. Twilight paced back and forth, clipboard humming in front of her. Been 3 weeks since the Enterprise and Kanata's Pride departed Inquis. Even now, diplomats and aides for the Federation Empire were in Canterlot, beginning formal negotiations. Twilight, however, was quite a ways away, in the middle of the flat plains where Equestria's rock fronts were located. Long, translucent cylinders stretched between the two rather large tanks, each one filled with a glowing, pulsating liquid. Few control panels and monitors were mounted to the tanks, charts and other readouts flashing on the monitors. Spike stood in front of one of the tanks, craned his neck as he looked at one of the monitors. Okay, pressure looks stable, I think. Looked at Twilight. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how dangerous is this? Twilight slid her clipboard and saddlebag on her left flank. She wore a pair of goggles, lab coat, and heavy boots. Maybe a 6, she said, walking over to Spike's side. She looked the monitors over. We're out in the middle of nowhere. Closest rock farm or settlement about 20 miles away. According to my calculations, Moondance's calculations, and Minuet's, any possible explosion won't harm anyone. She leaned in close to Spike. And if anything does, you and I are just one teleport away to safety. Spike let out a breath. Well, okay. He looked over the entire apparatus. Go admit, Twilight. This is pretty impressive. Twilight broke from Spike's side and walked to the largest cylinder between tanks. I could have done it without my number one assistant, she said, looking back and smiling at Spike. She looked at the cylinder once more, a thick bulge in its center. All right, in 5 minutes, Equestria's first matter antimatter continuous distortion engine will go online. She paused and her head tilted slowly. And hopefully not explode in the process. Spike went back to Twilight's side, gently lowered her velvet barrel. Twilight, all kidding aside, after 3 weeks working with this on you, I have faith it'll go well. Twilight turned and leaned to Spike, nuzzling him. Thank you. She went back to the engine. A small recorder floated out her saddlebag up to her mouth. It clicked on as he spoke to it. This is Twilight Sparkle recording. I'm about to fire up into Prototype 1 for its first full power test. All monitors and readouts show green. She put the tricorder back and let out a breath. Well, here's another first step. Spike ran aside. So after this, then what? I don't think we can fly the engine to Earth. Twilight shook her head. She and Spike walked away from the engine, over to a rocky outcrop. Oh no, Spike. We'll need an actual hull, navigational deflectors, an inertial dampening system, a structural integrity field, actual computers for navigation, and a dozen other devices. Let's see what else! She turned around to face the engine. I told Captain Kirk I'd meet him on Earth in 10 years. But going to what Equestria has to do in that time? Ears fighting against the skull. I just don't know, Spike. Spike wrapped around to Twilight's friend and leaned in close. Twilight, I'm not sure what half of those things are you listen, but you know one thing. That's when you set your mind to something, you do it. He reached down and patted her cheek. You won't be alone either. You'll make that appointment, Twilight. I believe in you. Twilight stared at Spike, eyes glistening slightly. No, Spike. We'll make that appointment. She gently looked at Spike over magic and deposited onto her back. She stared at the engine. Ready? Spike nodded. Ready, Twilight! Engage! Twilight sucked in a breath. All right, here goes everything! Her horn glowed once more. A lever on each of the tanks slid down. And the universe opened up! Thanks to Full House and Sun Tzu for helping with the pre-editing. He put in videos of the Star Trek and MLP ending. Speaking of which, as you all know, Mike intends to do this with his Friends of His Failure stories, where he decides to put in the end credits to the show to try to imitate the show. Well, Mikey, this is how you do a so accurate story, but I'll be getting to that in the next chapter. Yes, the next chapter is an epilogue. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, woo! Wanted the quarters of the USS Enterprise, the latest Starfleet ship to bear the name. He felt some pride, but more than a little nervousness as he fought to the footsteps to falling in. Jim Kirk, Spock, Demora Sulu,
Richard Garrett. This will all be a tall task for me. He continued walking, turning a corner. He passed by a Vulcan male in a science-sufficient blue, and a Pegasus mirror in operations mustard. Both stopped and acknowledged him before continuing on their way. Picard nodded him as he walked past. The low whistle of the intercom sounded out, followed by a voice. Captain Picard, there is an incoming transmission for Starfleet Command for you, sir. It is Admiral Garrett. Picard stopped in his text and tapped the combats on his left breast. Thank you, Mr. Data. It took a moment to orient himself. I'll be in my quarters in 2 minutes. Tell the Admiral I'll take it there. Understood, sir. Picard increased his gait, reaching a turbulent and entering. Dirk Nine called out. Even as the door closed, within seconds the door slid open once more, hurried down the corridor. He finally reached the door to his quarters and entered, making his way to the desk in the corner. He sat down and swung a monitor around. Computer, open channel to Starfleet Command. Authorization, Picard Delta 5. The computer triple beat. Authorization acknowledged. Opening channel. The screen changed from the emblem of the Federation to the head and upper body of one Admiral Richard Garrett. She had stern features, with piercing brown eyes, black hair bob, and a hint of silver, and a set mouth. Captain, good to see you. Picard nodded, leaning forward slightly. And you as well, Admiral. My apologies for keeping you waiting. Garrett waved him off. I know how big your enterprise is, Captain. No apologies necessary. She glanced down. The ESS Commander Hurricane will be rendezvousing with you outside the Sol system. Admiral McCoy will be transferring over for a short inspection tour before you head out on your general mission. Picard brushed his chin. The clustering ship. Garrett shrugged. Apparently, he wanted to spend some time with an old friend, as he put it. Picard smiled sadly. Well, you certainly earned that right. We'll roll out the red carpet for him, Admiral. Anything else? Garrett hesitated for a moment. To be honest, I'm not sure. He was supposed to show up on your Enterprise's main voyage, but a lot has been changed. It could get dicey out there. Picard allowed himself a small chuckle. If the hero of Narian.3 thinks things might get dicey, then that's definitely cause for concern. Garrett tilted her head down and stared at Picard. Hardly a hero, Captain. I merely took advantage of information to make sure that there were sufficient forces there to put an end to the situation before it escalated. And you earned a debt of honor for the entire planet, along with a future statue in the Hall of Heroes on Kronos. Picard replied. I say you more than earned that, Admiral. Garrett's expression softened, if only slightly. Thank you, Captain. I'll let you get back on your mission. Safe travels. Starfleet Command out. Spike made his way down the halls of the Castle of Friendship, managing to slide through aides, cleaning staff, and other beings there. He smiled just as everyone there greeted him, calling out his name or waving a hoof, hand, or paw. I remember when I could slip by without anyone ever noticing I was there. So glad those days are over. No longer a baby dragon, barely a foot tall. He was now nearly 7 feet high, and although he was lean, his arms were like steel cables, legs like hydraulic pistons. Wings were tucked against his back, a remarkable feat considering it could stretch to nearly 10 feet in width. Somehow that matches his description in the last episode. He made his way to one room, down a corridor, and entered. Twi! Twi! You in here? He called out, or spying his old friend at the far end, standing in a balcony. He walked over, brow furrowing with every step. Twi! You alright? Twi's ears folded against her head as Spike approached. She waited for him to stand beside her before speaking. Sorry, Spike, it's just... She waved a wing at the sky, gentle direction to the setting sun. Tomorrow's the summer sun celebration. I wish my friends were here to enjoy it with me. Spike slowly nodded. Yeah, this is the first time none of them are here with us. At least, not physically. He shrugged. Should be a bit different. Twilight looked down at the corner of his eye. Bit different? That's all you could say about it, Spike? Spike's eyes searched from left to right. Well, yeah. He turned and looked around, finally looking over to the desk. Bent up a dab pad on it, and with a quick flick of his claw, started scrolling through screen text. Not everyone can be here all the time, Twilight. His eyes narrowed as he looked over to text currently on the datapad screen. I mean, you and I both know Fluttershy's the best one to deal with triple outbreaks of the Klingon farm worlds. And there's no way Greenbow Dash can give up on being captain of the Commander Hurricane, especially with such an important mission.
A small snort escaped Twilight. I'm not sure how important it really is transferring Admiral McCoy to the Enterprise. Spike smiled as he glanced over at Twilight.
Yeah, she probably just loves making those warp dive noises with her mouth.
Looked down at the data pad.
Although it's been a while since Applejack turned House Apple's holdings on Sherman's planet, and Rarity's been making noises about going back to Earth to check on her 5 boutiques there for ages.
Happy endings all around, people. Twilight finally turned from the setting sun and made her way to the room proper. And Pinkie Pie's the best ambassador Falcon we can have. She stopped next to Spike. You're right. It still won't make it any easier. Spike rubbed his chin.
Well, you could write them a letter.
He snorted, green flame shooting from his nostrils. Eyes crossed slightly as he looked down.
I'm still trying to figure out how you extended my range to interstellar distances.
Twilight finally smiled. Oh, trade secret. She floated a quill and a scroll off the table over to her. Spike held out her hand and grabbed the scroll out of midair.
Twilight, how about I write these? For old time's sake?
Twilight's horn lit up. 4 more scrolls and quills floated in the air. Okay, Spike, give me another second. She saw a thin beam of magic at the quills. It split apart and fell at each one with her magic. Another beam broke off, hitting one of Spike's claw. There we go. Now you only have to write once.
Spike bowed to her. Why, thank you, milady. My tired naked claws are in your debt.
A chuckle escaped Twilight. I'm glad to spare your delicate digits such pain. She paused for a moment, gathering her thoughts. Dear friends. The morning sun rose over the first city of the Klingon Empire, turning the buildings crimson. In one such building, the Klingon Imperial Science Academy students, teachers alike, rose and prepared for the oncoming day. Jillian, daughter of McCaig, hurrying along the hallways, backpack slung over one shoulder and pads clutched in her hands. She waved her way to the other students, occasionally just shoulder blocking her way through the crowd. I'll be late! She snarled. Move, you brainless Ferengi! Get to your own classes! Finally, Jillian managed to arrive at one set of double doors. She walked through them, finding herself in a rather large auditorium. Over a dozen rows of chairs and desks were arranged in a semicircle, surrounding a stage. A podium was at the center of the stage, a large sandstone screen behind it. Jillian made her way down to a set of stairs and slid her way to the assigned seat. The auditorium quickly filled up with other students. A general hush fell over them as the chronometer ticked to 900 hours, local time. A door in the back wall opened and an elder Klingon male walked onto the stage. He wore a brown robe trimmed with silver chainmail and carried a thick leather-bound book to his right hand. He walked over to the podium and placed the book down on it. His sharp brown eyes started from left to right. A full class! Excellent! He thumped his chest. I am Saxi, son of Kang and Mara. Saxi spread his arms out, seeming to take in the entire class.
This is the next step on your journeys. Your weapons shall be your mind and tricorders. Your armor shall be your ideas and books. Your battlefields shall be your laboratories and test sites. Your battles shall be against the forces of nature itself. And if you succeed, the prize shall be nothing less than the secrets of the universe.
The teacher paced back and left and forth, leaving his right hand in the air.
You shall not be alone in this. Look to your left, then to your right. Your comrades in arms are all around you, where there is strength and unity, in friendship.
Brought his hand and muscled to himself.
And I shall aid you as well as I can.
A large grin blossomed on Sigty's face.
Now, let us see how well I can do in teaching you the true way of the warrior.
This scored Neil on a bit of biscuit. He sat on a chair in the ceiling of the house. Did you think it would end up like this? He asked his guest. Q looked up. He was sprawling on the couch, smirk on his face. I'm afraid I knew everything that was going to happen when the timeline changed, my dear Discord. It's one of the trials of being omniscient. Nothing surprises you. Discord groaned. He pushed himself from his chair back to shrunk down to the couch. Water wings appearing on his limbs. Oh, don't give me that, Q. We're both evolved beings, and you are not omniscient. He leaned in close. Or did he let Cisco knock you for a loop? Just key way to figure Discord. Don't push it too far. Our friendship can only mitigate so much before I get irritated. Discord backed away to the other side of the couch. Pod called up. Sorry. He tilted his head. But the question does stand Q. Did you think it would end up like this? He repeated. Q snapped his fingers. Martini glass appeared in his left hand. He took a sip before speaking. Well, I knew some things would change. He paused before turning somber. As a father, I'm glad neither Jim Kirk nor Kang or Colliff outlived their sons. A groan escaped at Q. Oh, look at me. I'm getting positively sentimental in my old age. Discard barked a laugh, changing to a dog for a moment. Ha ha! Oh, please, it's magic of friendship, Q. Don't fight. He paused. Speaking of which, don't you have a friendship to go and start? I think Mon Capitan will be waiting for you. Martini glanced at Q's hand disappeared. I'm not sure, Discord. I mean, he knows about me. There's no Farpoint Station test this time around. What's the point? Discord gasped. The point? What does that matter? The point is to go and see him. I don't know. Mix things up a bit here. Give him a full head of hair or something. Q item. Let's go too far. Still, you're right. You're expecting me to show up. So, might as well make an appearance. The rest of the cast had typed out in front of his shirt. Thank you, Discord. A pleasure as always. Raised his right hand before snapping his fingers. Though, speaking of friends and friendships, don't you have someone to attend to? Discord leaned back slightly. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about. Q snored. What a shame. Just me a new friend and forgotten about him. Ah, well. Hopefully, I'll do better with John Luke than you did with Flash Sentry and that little savior of the universe game you talked him into after the Queen concert. With that, it snapped his fingers and fans to the light. Discord sat down on the couch for a few moments. Forgotten. New friend. He slapped his face with a paw, slowly dragging out his face and shout. Cheeks turning bright plaid. Oh, whoops! How could I have forgotten that? Beep, beep, beep. Lieutenant Flynn sat up in his seat. He looked at the monitor above his sensor station, eyes widened as his brain processed the image on screen. He swallowed and waited a handful of heartbeats before leaning in close to the microphone on the station speaking into it. General Shadow, have I mentioned how lovely you look today and how powerful you are? He struck down slightly. Also, Flash Sentry is approaching. The temperature seemed to drop several degrees as General Tempest Shadow stalked down the flight of stairs from her station. What do you mean, Flash Sentry approaching? She snarled out, upper lip curling to reveal some rather sharp teeth. Flynn sat down in his seat. Well, he's flying in Night Pony Rockstyle, he chuckled slightly. And have I mentioned how lovely you look? Tempest Shadow spun from her right foreleg opened up. Open fire! All weapons! She looked back to Flynn. Dispatch Warblip Applejacks to break back his body. Outside the palace of Discord to Diabolical, Flash Sentry sent his borrowed rocket cycle into a series of twisted turns, avoiding past of powerful magic coming from his cannon situated around Discord's palace. He turned his rocket cycle around, sparing a moment to glance back, and some large armor blood appeared from one of the palace hangars. Flash turned back on his throttle as much as he dared. He allowed himself a moment's respite and rested on the controls for a moment. Next time Discord tells me it'll just be a fun game based on the human music we were listening to. He looked around Technicolor clouds, even his ears somehow picked up the faint music of Queen. Next time, I'll ask him if I can bring some friends, you know! Tossed his head back and let out a wild yell as his mate ripped out a bomb and saw the fastest ahead. Ha! I'd like to thank Fullsash, Sunsuit, Darkstalker, Talonthor for all their help for pre-editing and pre-editing. I'd like to thank all of those helping with this fanfic. Your assistance has been immeasurable and appreciated. If you're a little confused about that last section, go back to the previous videos for a little meme music. And he's got a final blog posted on this link here. But I think you all know what you're waiting for. You are all here for a review. And since RK posted his thoughts, I think I want to put down my own personal history with the franchise. I remember living in a little house in my small little town, and on every weekday, well, almost every Wednesday, I think, either right around 5 or midnight or 8, before my bath and I had to go to bed, there would be this little show with this slightly balding guy, his faithful crew, all getting ready to go off on some adventure. I laughed at the antics of this insane guy who was an omnipotent being. Later on, sometimes when I went to my grandma's house, she had copies of Star Trek movies 1, 2, 3, and 4. Of course, later on I regretted the one decision. Sometimes at my grandma's house, I used to play as an engineer, me being Jory, and I really loved it. Since then, I've been a Trekkie. So, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'll tell you my thoughts on Star Trek in general with the review. And what do I think of the fic? It's RK Striker. If you've been with this channel for the past 5 years, then you know he's a trusted writer on this channel. Always good for an interesting, engaging story. Always good for making the story well done and well crafted. And always good to make it fun. I mean, the only thing that I was surprised by was that we did have a Doctor crossover to match up with the Fourth Doctor talking to Kirk. Which, that comic is awesome. I mean, if I had any real complaints, it's we didn't get to see Khan. And that's about it. Well, maybe at the time, maybe if I could complain about shortness, but nah. It was perfectly the length it should have been. Why? Well, it's like I said earlier. This is how you do a show accurate story on both sides. Both for the Star Trek side and for the Pony side. On the Pony side of things, on the Star Trek side of things, as always, it's not necessarily a big use gigantic starship bow. Pew pew pew. Sometimes it could be a human element, where it's just the crew having to deal with a problem on a planet, an ambassador's journey, or trying to discuss some diplomatic functions, or trying to talk their way out of a problem. And on the MLP side, is of course dealing with a friendship issue, trying to solve things through talking and an open hand, rather than a closed fist. Doesn't need the action, because it plays to what I've always believed to be RK's greatest strength as a writer: the accuracy of the characters. I kept joking through the review to myself and out loud that I come for the references, the mythology gags, and shoutouts, but I stay to watch RK give me some well-developed character interactions and some well-written characters. Because he does one great thing that I think every writer should do when they're a fanfic writer and they write a story about a show they love. He, for one thing, leaves any prejudices out the door. Even in his blog, he mentions he doesn't like Starlight. So, does he write Starlight? No, he avoids her. And the story's all the better for it. Does he write down an author's track about some sort of complaint? No. It's a general, just well done story. That's all you need with a crossover like this. Twilight's her usual character, perfectly in her character. Overactive, hopping around ready to solve the latest problem. Pinkie Pie, overly excitable. Rainbow Dash, arrogant and confident. Birdie, fancy and formal. Applejack, honest, determined. Fluttershy, soft-spoken, but with a great heart. That's all you need to craft a story. These characters are there, the story has to be in your hands. And this is another strength of Arcade Striker I've always found. Is that he takes these characters and goes, okay, these characters are here. They're ready to talk. What about? Okay, why not have Scotty and Chekhov in a drinking contest with Rainbow Dash? Let's see how they interact in this type of scenario. Alright. What about Discord? His interactions with Q. And how would these things apply? And the addition of Trixie and Sunset being huge Trekkie fans like ourselves, not only is a great tribute to how we have loved this series for over 50 years and kind of how we fans would react if we did get to meet Kirk and the others, but it was also a great element to see what would happen if the crew actually saw that they were a TV show somewhere else, and not only were their adventures documented, but their future was already lined out. What would change? What would craft? And rather than having a super depressed, oh, our lives are fake, in another universe type of deal, it's more of a, okay, how do we change this? Because, well, I love Star Wars to death. I mean, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I can't recognize every single thing about the series. And I'll probably stick more with the EU, like, say, Young Jedi Knights. I still love Star Trek just a little bit more. Why? Because if Star Trek is anything, if there's an overwhelming theme about Star Trek that I think both its original series and TNG and even DS9 with its darker themes should always be about, it should be hope, togetherness, friendship, the ability to move forward past our own previous hatreds, and a desire to look towards the future that we can change and make ourselves better. It should be about the adventures and the journey that our characters take and the changes we undergo because we have learned from our mistakes and our errors. That is what Star Trek to me is when you boil it down to its pure, raw essence. And somehow it's a thing that I feel like still keeps through a lot of the series and movies to this day. Even with the Kelvin timeline, we still have bits and images of these themes. And that is what this fic gives us and presents to us so well. We don't need a scene of Twilight feeling like she's a useless creature. What we need are scenes where she applies and goes with the plot just as well. We don't need scenes of the random villain A being more powerful than all the other villains. Ooh! We just need a few moments of the characters drinking it up. That is what makes a great story. That is what makes this an excellent story. Well, in about a few more days, I'm going to have a little tribute to the fact that the show just ended with a certain special fanfic. But just to make sure that I don't miss out on anything related to Halloween, I have a Blair Death fic incoming. You call that a costume? See you next time. Energize!